Today in the Chokeslam Wrestling Report, we are stepping away from AEW and the WWE this week. We're going to be talking about New Japan's New Beginning that happened this past Tuesday, and I'm going to give you my take on what's going on in New Japan. I mean, it looks like they're going backwards, and we're going to definitely going to be talking about that and much more on the Chokeslam Wrestling Report.
This is the moment we've all been waiting for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Welcome to another episode of the Chokeslam Wrestling Report, episode 232, and we're going to be talking about New Japan's New Beginning, something that a lot of these podcasters out here don't do. They pretty much live off AEW and live off WWE. So, in case you guys are wondering why am I talking about this, well, I cover everything. If you guys, again, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, hit that notification bell for new uploads every week and share with friends, of course. And for those who are live watching the stream, you could go and, show up and whatnot and definitely ask any questions during the live stream, and I will answer them when I can. Now, let's talk about New Japan's Pro Wrestling New Beginnings that happened this past Tuesday. Now, a lot of things came out of that. A lot of surprises came out of that. The one thing I pretty much kind of confused me was the fact that Zack Sabre Jr. lost his IWGP World title to Hiroki Goto. Now, I'm going to go into it. I'm going to tell you what happened and what my take on that is. And it bothers me in a way because it's like, how is it that New Japan is going backwards instead of going forward with all these young talent that they have and whatnot? The one thing that was surprising was the fact that Drilla Maloney, actually he's part of the WarDogs, Bullet Club WarDogs, moved up to the heavyweight division, which means he's no longer going to be competing. Him and Clark Connors will not be competing for the IWGP Junior Tag Team Championships, because now Drilla Maloney moved up to the heavyweight division. And the surprise part about all this, his first match was against the former IWGP World Champion, Shingo Takagi, and his first biggest test was with that. Well, his test, he passed it because he ended up winning the match against Shingo Takagi. And, this kind of pretty cements Maloney as a legitimate heavyweight threat. What's next for Maloney? Could this be a single push? But we will see what happens, because at the end of the day, this is crazy. This is really crazy, because now there's a lot of things going on now with New Japan Pro Wrestling, but that's a good move for New Japan to actually move one of the young soldiers, if you want to put it that way, and put them out there to compete, against the likes of, again, Shingo Takagi, the older guys like, Hiroki Goto, all these old guys that they got there and that who are established stars, to go and test their skills against these old guards for them to make a name of themselves in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So with that, I mean, what best way for Drilla Maloney to test himself against Shingo Takagi? Takagi is a hard-hitting wrestler. You guys already seen what he brings to the table. He did compete in AEW's Owen Hart tournament last year, and he is no joke. He is no joke at all. So that is a good, big win for Drilla Maloney to win. Another thing that happened in New Beginning was Shota Umino. Now, Shota Umino, who pretty much was under the tutelage of John Moxley, if anything, he was trained as his young guy, or his young lion, back in 2019 when Moxley left WWE and went to New Japan to compete at the G1 Climax tournament and whatnot. And he ended up pretty much being under Moxley. During the year, Shota Umino, he went to Mexico, came back. He went for the excursion in Mexico, came back different. He came in as the shooter, Shota Umino, and pretty much, like his whole look was changed. He was packaged up as the next Jon Moxley for AEW. He was like, not AEW, sorry, the New Japan version of Jon Moxley. But the one thing that I think went wrong for Shota Umino as far as babyface in New Japan was the fact that he said he was the next ace. Now, once you start talking about you're the next ace, there's only one ace in New Japan, and it's Hiroshi Tanahashi. So that kind of rubbed off the fan the wrong way, because this man was, get in the ring, wrestle, lose matches, get himself into in situations and feuds that he wasn't supposed to be getting into. So it was crazy. It was very crazy. And then you started seeing the fans booing him, in Japan. So it's just like he's rubbing them the wrong way. He's not getting the support of the New Japan fans, and so he got into a match with the Great Okan, which he ended up losing his hair. I guess it was a loser hair or some type of gimmick or whatever. Shota ended up shaving his head. He lost the match to Great Okan. He lost his hair. Now, my question is, are they going to repackage him and whatnot? Are they going to turn him around? They probably figured this is not working. His new, like, he wants to be like the Jon Moxley version of New Japan, and it's not working. People are not with him, and it looks like they're going to repackage him because, the haircut, he shaved his own hair. He took the clippers away from Great Okan and like, no, you're not cutting my hair. It's not happening. Good luck on that, So, so that was something that caught me off guard, because him losing his hair now after all this nonsense talking about he's going to be one of the next three musketeers in New Japan. He's going to be the ace of the company. It's not working. It's not working at all. So I don't know what's going on there, but it looks like they're going to be repackaging him. Now, another thing that kind of confused a lot of people during this pay-per-view in New Japan. Now, Ichiban's three boys, which is, Robbie Eagle and Konosuke Fushida, are the IWGP Junior Tag Team Champions. Okay. And during the match and whatnot, they ended up beating the opponents and whatnot in that match. But then Taiji Ichimori came out to challenge the tag team champions. The confusing part was that Ichimori claimed that him and Robbie Eagle were going to team up against the IWGP Tag Team Champion. Now, I'm just saying this, so how the hell did that happen and whatnot? It's crazy. It doesn't make no sense. So now Ichimori is going to team up with Eagle to wrestle Fujita by himself. What? It doesn't make no sense. You know what I'm saying? And is Robbie Eagle part of the Bullet Club again? Because he was part of Bullet Club a couple of years ago, back in 2019. But then he left. So that is the question that is, it's just crazy. I just don't get it. I really don't get it. Hold on one second. So, it was confusing. They put it that way. It's very confusing. And, I really don't know what's going on there, but, it's not, it doesn't make no sense. I don't know why they're doing that. And, it makes no, I said the issue claim he and Eagle were going for the belts, but the Eagles is already one and a half of the champion. Now the question is, was this a botch promo, a potential storyline swerve, or just a miscommunication? And where does Ichimori stands and who he will actually be challenging for the belts? So maybe it was Ichimori that dropped made a promo that didn't make no sense. I don't know. So I don't know. That was kind of a body situation there. Konosuke Takeshita. He retained his never Openweight championship after defending the belt against Molten Oleg. Now, Takeshita. Konosuke Takeshita is going to be that guy who probably is going to be in the G1 Climax this year again, and he might go to the finals. And Takeshita is looking so good in New Japan right now that he could be a big star, and this is a very good look for AEW. You know, and I said this a couple of years ago when they were talking about the AEW International title that didn't mean nothing and whatnot, supposedly to this individual at that time. And I said, well, you know, at the time Moxley beat Orange Cassidy for the belt. I said, well, you know, Moxley goes to New Japan and he could go out there and defend the belt against New Japan wrestlers. Fortunately, that didn't happen. Moxley got hurt. The belt, I think, was taken away from him, and it kept on. Orange Cassidy ended up getting the belt again. So it's just it was a situation that they weren't able to take advantage of that situation. So instead, a couple of years passed, and now Takeshita goes, wins the international title and whatnot. He has defended it in New Japan. And not only he's the AEW International Champion, but he's also the never Openweight Champion and whatnot. And him to be in there in the ring with a young wrestler, Molten Oleg, who's the future of New Japan. This guy's, he's very well-talented wrestler. You know, if you guys haven't noticed him, who he is, he already won the six-man tag, the never Openweight six-man tag in Japan with Tanahashi, and I believe was Tomohiro Ishii at one point. So there, he already has taste gold, But the fact that he went in there with Konosuke Takeshita, who's probably the hottest wrestler right now in New Japan and in the wrestling world right now, because he's making noise. He's making a lot of noise, and this guy, he was making noise last summer. He's still doing it. The fact that he won the AEW International Championship, and I believe he beat Will Ospreay. I'm not sure if that's the one who he took the belt for. I totally forgot. It's been so long. But the fact that he's there and actually winning the belt and whatnot, you know what I'm saying? I mean, winning the Nova Open Championship during, I think it was Wrestle Kingdom. You know what I'm saying? So it was a belt versus belt and whatnot. So he beat Shingo for it. So, it's Takeshita keeps surprising people, not surprising me at all, because I know what he's all about and whatnot, and is bugged out. Now, here is the biggest, I think one of the biggest news in the in this event. The Young Bucks. Now, the Young Bucks ended up winning the IWGP Tag Titles in a three-way in I think it was Wrestle Kingdom. Was it Wrestle Kingdom or Wrestle Dynasty? One of those events. And then ended up winning the IWGP Tag Titles. Now, my thing is, again, why they gave them the belts? You know what I'm saying? Why they gave them the belts if they haven't, they didn't show up to any of the New Japan shows. They haven't been in AEW TV with those belts. So they ended up going in this match, the first defense against Hiromu and Naito, and they lose the belts. I mean, the big question is, what's the deal with the Young Bucks? You know what I'm saying? They came to Japan in January, wins the tag team belts, don't defend the belts, and they first defend, they lose the belts. So what is going on with with Young Bucks? Because at first, when they won those tag team belts, I said, oh, this is great. This is probably a storyline that could lead up to a AEW versus New Japan storyline. And eventually, that didn't happen. They ended up losing their first match and whatnot, or the first defense, losing those belts right away. So I think they just did it out of spite, just to be in the show and whatnot. And I think they won those belts in Wrestle Dream. I could be wrong. You know what I'm saying? What's it? Wrestle Dynasty. I'm sorry, Wrestle Dynasty. And they didn't really, to me, they really didn't, did anything. They just held those belts for a month. That's all they did. You know what I'm saying? Now Naito Hiromu wins the tag team belts. I guess they're trying to keep Hiromu and Naito busy and whatnot. So I don't know what's up with that and whatnot. So I don't know where they're going with this. Will the Young Bucks ever come back to New Japan? Well, they just did it for the hell of it, just to stick it to New Japan because they always had issue with New Japan. So I don't know where that one goes and whatnot. So that really kind of threw me off and whatnot. So it's crazy. Now, I believe this is one of the biggest stories in the New Beginning pay-per-view or the event was the situation with the Bullet Club. Now, you guys know that I am a big Bullet Club mark, if you want to put it that way. Now, Bullet Club has not been that dominant ever since Jay White lost, the leadership and David Finlay took over and they brought in the WarDogs. But there's been a lot of confusion when it comes to the Bullet Club. Now, the Bullet Club has been broken down so many times in different factions and different sub-factions now. In the years that we know about Bullet Club, first it was the Elite and whatnot. And I always felt, the word was that the only reason they did that, Kenny Omega did that, was to have a Bullet Club version in the United States, which the group in New Japan didn't like because they felt like, well, they're making money out of our name. So that you see what happened with that, with being the Elite are still kind of together, or they just kind of broken up. They're not there, but Bullet Club always withstood the storm of them still being a group and whatnot. We could also remember about when Jay White took over Bullet Club and whatnot, and little by little, he took over. You had Carl Anderson and Luke Gallo going back to New Japan, being part of the group. We saw Juice Robinson joining Bullet Club at one point. But then it was right after, I think, somewhere in 2023 or 2022, one of those, when Jay White lost his position, when he lost his loser leave Japan and whatnot, and ended up losing his leadership when David Finlay attacked him at one of the shows here in the United States and took over the Bullet Club leadership. He changed the name to the Bullet Club WarDogs. But you forget that House of Torture was Evil created while under leadership of Jay White. Pretty much where a lot of speculations that there was going to be some type of civil war between Jay White's group and Evil's group. And they kind of teased it back in 2021, the G1 Climax and whatnot. They teased it while Jay White did not participate in that year's G1 Climax when he was in TNA. So, there was kind of a back and forth tease. It never happened. Back in 2023, I made a video about the possibility of a three-way civil war where you had Biolux Fale's group in New Zealand, you had Jay White's Bullet Club Go in AEW, and the WarDogs, and you could have had an all-out war going on and whatnot, but it never happened. So now, this past Tuesday, and whatnot, in a match between Gabriel Kidd and Yota Tsuji for the global title, it was a draw, which ended up with the House of Torture attacking Tsuji, but it then attacked Gabriel Kidd. Now, everybody's probably wondering what the hell happened and whatnot if House of Torture is part of Bullet Club. Well, apparently Evil said, no, WarDogs are no longer part of Bullet Club. And the House of Torture is Bullet Club. Now, this is kind of confusing because if they're known as House of Torture, how could you still call them Bullet Club? And also, if you really think about it, there's members of Bullet Club that's been part of Bullet Club, but they've never been saying they're part of House of Torture or they're part of the WarDogs. And that is Chase Owens and Taiji Ishimori. Those are long-time Bullet Club members. And because the Tokyo Pimp, he's part of House of Torture. And Chase Owens always been by himself as far as like no loyalty to either subgroup. He's just part of the group, Bullet Club. And Ishimori has been like, he's the same way. So there's a lot of confusion. Is Bullet Club still going to be around by the end of this year? Because now we may see the WarDogs having some type of how you call it, feud with the House of Torture. And it's going to be interesting because Jake Lee, who's part of the Bullet Club WarDog, and Sonata is another guy who's part of Bullet Club. Who he's going to join? Is he going to join Evil, or he's going to stay with Xavier Finley? So it's very confusing and whatnot. So this is a lot when it comes to New Japan Pro Wrestling and whatnot. So it's crazy. Also, so the last thing that happened and whatnot was the question of booking of Hiroki Goto winning and beating Zack Sabre Jr. Now, Goto's been around forever in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And the question I have for that is, why in the world will New Japan book Hiroki Goto beating Zack Sabre Jr. for the IWGP World title when in reality, I thought they were trying to do everything new. Zack Sabre Jr. is the future of New Japan, but they took the belt away from him to give it to Goto. And the first defense Goto is going to do is go against Hiroshi Tanahashi. My question is why? Why are we going backwards when it comes to this? You know what I'm saying? This don't make no sense. This don't make no sense at all. You know what I'm saying? Because now it looks like New Japan, a lot of people will complain about New Japan, that New Japan now is dead because Ospreay, Okada, Jay White, all these people has left, and New Japan has been left with the younger guys. But it looks like they're still playing politics in the back, even after Tanahashi took over as president, because now they went backwards and gave the belt to Hiroki Goto. Hiroki Goto is not world champion material. Okay? And yes, he may be one of the popular wrestlers in New Japan, but you got other guys that could be, David Finlay. And I'm going to go with David Finlay because Finlay, in reality, this guy should be at least world champion by now. He had the global title for a while. They took it away from him. So he should be the one right now going after the belt. But now with this whole thing with Bullet Club and all this, now the WarDogs are going to be known as the guys babyface, which makes no sense because David Finlay is a heel. This guy is the heel as it could get. He throws the middle finger to the fans, whatever. So what's going to happen with Bullet Club? Yeah, that's the thing. Also, now with Hiroki Goto as world champion, is this an opportunity now for Hiroki Goto to go one-on-one with David Finlay and Finlay winning the belt? You know what I'm saying? But for them to take the belt away from Zack Sabre Jr. and then give it to to Hiroki Goto, it doesn't make no sense. You're going backwards. You know what I'm saying? So this is not a good idea. And and that's gonna this is gonna go and pretty much turn the fans here in the United States that likes New Japan Pro Wrestling, and they're gonna bother to watch it. Because I mean the last show they had here in the New Japan Strong here, I think it was in January. I was in January or December or one of those. They show in Long Beach. There wasn't a lot of people there. You can see a lot of gaps. New Japan is not getting that United States mainstream stuff going on. And now with this, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't make no sense. How is this working for New Japan at all? It doesn't make no sense. So my final thought is WarDog breaking away from Bullet Club could reshape the New Japan's faction landscape. It to me doesn't make no sense. Bullet Club been there forever, so now you're gonna break them up. To put House of Torture House of Torture has been that faction that's getting the most heat as far as a heel team, more than the WarDogs. You know what I'm saying? And now with Gabe Kidd had a big reception when he fought Kenny Omega at Wrestle Kingdom. People were cheering for him. Kenny Omega was the heel that night. So it's crazy. So Umino's repackage could be one of the biggest shifts in his career. Most likely, it probably will, because Shota Umino, no matter what they did, they still booed him. They don't care for him as far as, you know, as a baby face. So maybe the whole repackaging thing could help. And whatnot with the anniversary show coming up in March, and then the New Japan Cup coming up. So we'll see what happens with that and whatnot. And New Japan's booking of champions raises question, and are they focusing too much on nostalgia instead of the future? Which the question of that makes a lot of sense, because they still stuck in probably in the 2007, and they are stuck on nostalgia. Is Hiroki Goto your New Japan champion? What? That makes no sense. When I read that, I was like, what? You took the belt away from Zack Sabre Jr., one of the best wrestlers. The guy won the G1 Climax, has won the New Japan Cup. Okay, has won the IWGP Tag Team Champion, has won the New Japan's TV title not once, I think twice. So, does that make any sense? It doesn't make any sense. To me, it doesn't. And what's next for the New Japan heading into the next major event? Well, the next major event is the New Japan Cup. So, out of that, someone is going to become a star, because Yoda Sushi won the New Japan Cup last year, and look where he's at now. He's the IWGP Global Champion and whatnot. For a lot of you guys who probably don't watch New Japan like I do, New Japan is still good regardless. You know what I'm saying? It's just the fact that a lot of people don't get to see it, don't bother to see it, because they're stuck in the AEW, WWE bullcrap back and forth. And sometimes I like to step away from that, because, you know, when you get too many, people analyzing the matches, the wrestling fans today are too worried about what's the TV ratings, who cares about TV ratings anymore? Netflix right now has WWE overall. Why are we looking at Netflix numbers for what? That makes no sense. And then AEW, this week they're talking about, they suffer 500 something thousand views this week, whatever. I mean, so who cares? Who cares? I don't care. As long as I enjoy good wrestling, that's what it matters to me. You know what I'm saying? But everybody's too much on this tribalism and this bullcrap. You know what I'm saying? It's just nonsense. And I feel like sometimes I need to step away from there and deal with New Japan. But after seeing this, I mean, to me, it's just like they went backwards this last show. You took away the belt from Zack Sabre Jr. This does not make no sense at all. So that is it for me today, guys. Thanks once again for watching. And wanna subscribe to the channel, as you guys can see on the bottom left. And whatnot. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, the X. Of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are a Joners Podcasting Network podcast. So, support the brand and whatnot. Also, check out my podcast store. We got t-shirts, hats, and hoodies. Go to tcwr.veryimpressive.com. That's tcwr.veryimpressive.com. And we are available on YouTube. We are available on TikTok. We are available everywhere. So let us know what you think of this video. Let us know what your thoughts on as far as all the information I just gave you. Again, this is our take on the New Beginnings show New Japan had this past Tuesday and whatnot. And let me know what you think. Until then, guys, be safe, and I'll see you guys next week.